This little downstairs toilet was in desperate need of a makeover. Dark wallpaper, a gravel floor, a toilet that had definitely seen better days, and even a wall-mounted ashtray from decades ago. So in this video, we're tearing everything out and starting fresh. New plumbing, fresh tiles, fun wallpaper, and a complete transformation of this tiny space. If you're new here, we're renovating our old house in the forest one space at a time. And today, it's the toilet's turn. We want to turn this old, tired space into something clean, fresh, and maybe even a little bold. The plan? A floating toilet, brand new tiles, a fun wallpaper, and a compact sink cabinet to make the most of this tiny room. Before we could build something beautiful, we first had to make a mess. We started at the top, literally, by removing the old ceiling panels. They came off quite easily. Then came the wallpaper. Luckily, this was also not a problem. Ever since we moved in, there's been this one random postcard hanging in the toilet. We always joked about it. What if it had a secret message? A clue, maybe directions to a hidden treasure in the garden? Well, let's have a look today. After all that build-up, nothing. So no hidden treasure to save today. So I guess it's back to good old-fashioned hard work. And while Søren is doing all this, I'm making myself useful elsewhere, like with this door, for example. Next up is the old gravel floor. We've dealt with this stuff before. It used to cover the entire ground floor, and back then it was an absolute nightmare to get out. But this time it's surprisingly easy.
Was het overal maar zo gegaan? Okay, so we have built everything necessary for the toilet to work. So we've got the plumbing in, we just tested it and it all works great, so that's good. We built in the reservoir, which is going behind the toilet, and we also put something in front of it so we can put tiles on. And now it's time to put in all the good stuff, like all the tiling on the walls and on the floor. Then we also have some wallpaper, which is going up on the upper part of the wall, we've got the new faucet, new sink and everything. So now the good stuff starts.
For the tiles, we tested a few layouts to see what worked best in the space. And in the end, we went with a vertical offset layout with a horizontal row at the top and the bottom to frame it nicely. Tiling these walls turned out to be one of the smoother parts of the renovation, and that's mostly because we decided not to leave a grout line. That meant we could just stack the tiles directly on top of each other, which made the whole process a lot easier and quicker. And of course, there's still a tiny gap between them, so we'll fill that in later. For now, it's just nice to have a job that's pretty easy. I'm always a little bit impatient when it comes to seeing results, and doesn't this look nice? Next up was the back wall and the floor. For these areas we picked larger tiles, which turned out to be a bit more of a challenge. Especially cutting them to size wasn't going too well at first. The tiles just wouldn't break cleanly along the score line. And after a bit of frustration and a quick search for tips, which we probably should have done right away, things went a lot smoother. For these large tiles, we used a leveling system with clips and a clamp tool to keep everything aligned. It was our first time using it, but it actually worked surprisingly well. The tiles stayed perfectly in place and we didn't have to constantly check everything with the level. It really saved us a lot of hassle. We looked at a bunch of wallpaper options. I was going back and forth for quite a while, but Søren had quite a clear favorite from the start, so that's what we went with in the end. And to be honest, I think all of them would have been fine, but I'm happy with the choice we made. Finding the right grout color for the smaller tiles turned out to be surprisingly tricky. Ideally, I didn't even want a grout line at all, but that wouldn't have looked clean, and hygiene-wise, it's just not a good idea. We really wanted something in the exact same color as the tiles, but that just didn't seem to exist. We ordered a few close matches, but they were all slightly off, and that would have given this bubblegum vibe, which we were not going for. So in the end, we settled on a beige tone, and honestly, I'm not in love with it. I really liked how it looked before, more monochrome and calm, but I guess sometimes you have to compromise. To finish off the top edge of the tiles and to create a nice ledge above the toilet tank, we bought some solid oak boards. We cut them into slim strips to use as trim along the top of the tiles, and we made a custom shelf for above the reservoir. To save a bit of money, we only bought one roll of the wallpaper, which meant there wasn't enough for the wall behind the toilet. So instead, we covered that part with Renovation wallpaper, which we still had laying around, and painted it in a leftover color from our kitchen. It's a simple solution, and I think it looks great. For the caulking, we also tested a few options, and it was again quite difficult to choose, but eventually we just went with it, and I think it looks fine. We ordered this cute little cabinet with a beautiful marble sink. I'm very happy with it, but we did not think it through because this cabinet is made from walnut wood, like in our kitchen, and we used oak wood for the trim and the ledge behind the toilet. I feel that isn't the best match. Perhaps in the future we can stain the oak in a dark color, but not now. We have a new project lined up already, so this is what it is for now. I do think it goes very well with the tiles and the rest of the room. The marble sink is gorgeous and the copper faucet goes with it perfectly, and of course it's all about the details. Let's add a bit of styling and we are done. Next up is our ensuite bathroom. A big project and we'll do everything ourselves. Will you follow along? Don't forget to subscribe.